Welcome back to the Endgame Sports Show. This is the extra time edition, and on extra time, what we do is we go outside and obviously talk to my friends, and then we just chop it up and just have some fun in the interview. Today, I have the pleasure, the honor of being with who I, consider two of the greatest footballers from the country of Antigua and Barbuda. One of them, I never saw much, never saw properly. But my father keeps telling me how great he was. And then the other one, I had the pleasure of seeing a bit of her. And I mean, as I said, two of the greats. Derrick Pretty Boy Edwards and daughter, Devita Edwards. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good, fine, Beautiful day, the sun is out.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, let's start with King. How has everything been for you, just generally, especially watching Devita? How has everything just been for you?
Well, it's funny that you ask a question because growing up, she always been around the game, as a child, because I'm the dad everywhere I travel to play. She always be there. So I think that it's ingrained in her to even stay with the sport as well. And I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, proud of you. I mean, both of my parents played sports. My father, E.T. Falsons, played cricket, football, played everything. My mom was a national volleyball player. Uncle Randy, national player. So it was like a lot of pressure for me thinking about playing this sport. Even though I love the sport, what was that like for you, knowing your father is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, striker in the country?
All right. So for me, I would say my father was always supportive from the jump. And actually, football wasn't my first choice of a sport to play because I wanted not so much focus to be on, hey, Derrick is your daddy, and so to take that off of myself, I played basketball first. And I played basketball from about 2002 to 2009. So that's like coming on to grade 6 and basically all of my high school journey. So I played basketball, I was really good at it. You can ask Bird, you can ask Super. Any basketball coach out there now, when you ask about Devita, I have trophies and people would come to my house and they would be like, wait, do you mean play basketball? Unfortunately for me, we didn't have Facebook when I was playing basketball. So it's newspaper articles and stuff that I would have made that time. And weird enough, as much as I tried to stay away from football, as Daddy said, it just, because I was always around it, it kept pulling me back in. When I started to play, it was Chesley Brown who was taking me around with the boys team. It was myself and Adrian because we didn't have leagues like that. So I was about 14 years old at the time. That's when I actually started to take football seriously. 14 years old. And we used to travel on Saturdays from village to village to play football. So I started there. And another thing that worked against me was the fact that Antigua Girls High School did not have a football team for school league until I was in 4th form. So that's the first time I got to play school league football. I played with Amelia Green, our now keeper, Anik Jarvis. There was also Brittany Jacobs. That was like the 4 people on the team. Myself and those 3, we made the team and they just asked other people to come and fill up. And we won championships just with those 4 people and our additions. And I got my first national team call up when I was around 15. And that was for the senior women's team. So it was going to play with the national team with people who have been playing football forever. And some people were like, oh, cause Pretty Boy, she pop that's why that woman pick she and whatever. But I think my mindset in any sport or anything I do is what coaches like. They like my leadership the leadership qualities I have. Once I'm a part of a setup, I am able to motivate the people around me. And I think that just kept, I was picked after that, captain the under 17 national team. I don't know if you remember, but we actually held Jamaica down for a good 45 minutes and people were amazed. Unfortunately, I did not have my number one keeper at the time, Anik, because she suffered a finger injury. So I think if we had her, we probably would have fared better. So yeah, for me, football just, it's inside, it's blood. My mom used to play too. So I couldn't run away from football. I left here, academic scholarship, went to Grambling. I actually tried out. So I didn't go there to play football. I just tried out, made the team, and I played for I didn't play my freshman year, but for my sophomore year, I played football. I used to come home, play in the summer. I think my first real coaching job was when we had to do some community service as a team in Grambling. So we had to coach the little people because they used to take us around, have us get little league teams. So we used to coach little league teams. And I don't know, I guess the leadership, that within me, it came natural. Yeah, so, and of course I learned from this guy.
So this guy, let's first of all, put some respect. But I'm always interested in hearing about the stories of the greats, because again, I didn't see a lot of you guys, but during COVID we had the privilege of these people that were just rebroadcasting games on Facebook. I caught myself saying a lot of the guys that sit down and talk, they're just really living good. But there were guys like you, there were Saleh and Nacho. Like, for the person that I would have known, I've obviously a lot come from the Grace Farm area that I just don't know them by name. But the names that I would have known that I heard were good were actually good. Like, so how did football? I mean, we're in Antigua, everybody kicks a ball, but how did it really just start for you?
Well, it started as all the sports usually start in the community before you even reach the school league. So it starts in the community. We used to have like little leagues in the community, and from there you could expand yourself to the club teams, right? And from the club teams, before the clubs in the school teams, then to the club teams. And it was a challenge because I started as a goalkeeper. I don't know, a lot of people know I was a goalkeeper. Started as a goalkeeper in school league, made the under 19 team as a goalkeeper as well. Toured to Trinidad, Puerto Rico, Guadeloupe, and so on. As a goalkeeper before I really turned into a striker for the national team, and it was a tough competition for me at 19 years of age to go back to the village league, to the community team, which is SAP, and have two good goalkeepers, which are Wesley Dyer, we usually call her Nadley, and Barrymore Francis from right here in Jennings. So I see my chances there was a bit hard to make the team. So I says, look, man, I see taking nothing away from those guys that used to play out on the field up front. I think that I could do a better job because I see that they used to miss a lot of easy chances and so on. I say, I can't miss those easy chances, man. So I transfer from goalkeeper now to forward playing for SAP. I have a little rough time getting into the starting team, made the team, but that time when you're in the community, you have this kind of group where those guys, they stick together, they cook, they eat, they sleep together. You as a youngster at the age of 18, 19, you have to be in your home, right? So you'll find some guys will get the edge over you because of the knit. Even though you're a little better than them, they'll get the edge. So my first chance against Jennings here in Bowlands, and that day you have this guy, John Lake. He used to be the starter, the striker, the starter who strikes. And that day he didn't come at the game because he couldn't get time off from work. So there where I get my first chance. And I take that first chance and I grab it with 10 hands. Because my first start against Jennings, I score a double. I score a brace. And I said, if I score 2 goals, I don't think those guys can have the heart to leave me out the next game. You know? So I get to start the next game again, and I score the next game. And that was history. That was history. I was always in the starting team just because that guy come that late that day. And made it to Premier Division. My first year in Premier Division, I scored 10 goals in Premier Division first. And playing like against Nando and Ivan Luke and Trouble Thomas, that's Ziggy's father and so on. Those guys were really tough. Barbara Ferrans and so on. Cannon and Blinds. Some tough guys. Big, huge guys, man. But I was big too. For my age, I was about 18, 19, but I was like 25 in body. I was strong, you know. So I fared good that year. And my first year in Premier, I get the call up for the national team from my first year in Premier Division from Coach Danny Livingston. You know, I don't know what Danny saw, but I guess he saw something that, you know, he sees that a good talent in me. And it takes off right there. So I made the national team in 1986.
I wasn't born, by the way.
In 1986, and I played from 1986 to 2003. Never been dropped. Just keep playing. And a lot of people don't know, unless you don't tell your stories, people won't know certain things. But all the team that I played against in the Caribbean, I scored against all of them. Every one of them. It's there.
Stats.
That is something we really boast about now. Like,
you know, you see, well, the players that I played with, you know, a lot of them can basically attest to what I'm saying because they played with me, you know. And if you want to know so much, you have to talk to a man like Kenny Nibbs and so on. Kenny Nibbs used to travel with the team everywhere. Everywhere the team is there, Kenny Nibbs used to there because he used to work at ABS and the sport. He used to move with a sports guy. And he used to be there. That's why I get the name number 4 bound to score.
Bound to score.
Number 4 bound to score. Click that. But so when, you know, as you said, you were a goalkeeper. Obviously, you know, moving years away from your playing career, SAP had a next player that was a goalkeeper and then turned into a prolific striker. What are your thoughts on him? That's Peter Byers as a player.
Well, to tell you the honest truth, I was coaching at the time, just about to get into coaching, and he was the goalkeeper at the time, and has this coach from Guyana. He used to coach SAP. Can't remember his name, but at the end of the day, I said, look, man, this guy is too talented to be in the goal, right? And I go to him and I said to him, look, coach, we have to take Byers out of the goal. We have a second keeper, we have to put the second keeper in because I think that Byers is, you know, much better on the outfield than in the goal. And that's the why Byers is on the field, play out because of me. Because I made that change. I was a captain and I made that change because I see something in him. And he turned out to be one of the greatest strikers out of Antigua, and probably maybe hitting the Caribbean as well.
For sure. Yeah. So how about you, D? You mentioned the high school team. It had Brittany.
Yes.
And I mean, Brittany was a talent.
Yep.
Amelia, a next talent. Like, and the three of you guys and Anik, you guys really transcended into the national team. Right. And for years played together. Like, what is your relationship with those specific players? Like, what is it like?
Well, I guess I would say because each one, because Brittany was ahead of us in terms of years. So she left high school, and I think that was the beginning of like a distancing between all of us. And then after we finished high school, of course, people went off to university and stuff. But I still keep in contact with Amelia, who has been trying to egg me on to run for president for ABF. And I'm like, Amelia, no. But I think we have a good relationship still. I know that Brittany as well has been doing a bit of coaching herself. Anik, I'm so proud. When I see Anik in the goal now I watch the national female team, I feel so proud because I'm like, yes, do it for us, the old girls, because she's playing with players who are 10, 12 years younger than her.
Some of them were never born.
So when I see that, I'm just really proud. And I even said to her, because I have a 10-year-old daughter, I'm trying to get her to choose keeping, but I don't know if she's going to. So the last game, I think, if not the last one, the one before that, I messaged Anik and I said, yeah, I can bring Genesis for you. You will teach you how to keep. And she was like, yeah, anytime you're ready. So I know I have a good relationship with all of these girls, and at any time, I think if we decide to reunite and do something great, I don't think any one of them would not come. So I have a good relationship with all of them.
You mentioned Genesis.
Yes.
Now, obviously, I know Genesis from and I mean, I have your social media and I've seen her, the progress that she's making as an athlete. I am a strong believer in, if you want to play 10 sports, you play 10, because at the end of the day, when is the time? Because you're going to run into the time where 2 national teams are going to want you to come to 2 trips.
And you'll make a choice.
One. And when you choose that one, and you maybe fall in love with it. And what kind of knowledge, what do you talk to her about when it comes to sports?
Well, what I tell her is that when I was younger, my parents did not choose for me. So I don't choose for her. I let her decide what she wants to do. Some people might not know, but she likes swimming. And she does it like every Saturday. And I'm being told she's really good. You should let her join one of those clubs. I asked her, she's like, oh, mommy, I don't know, I'm not ready yet. She likes football. Now she sees me coaching. She's excited about it. Every afternoon, mommy, so we're going football today. Pick up she boots, have suit, coordinated, everything. So I'm just along for the journey. Let me put it that way. I'm along for the journey. Whatever she decides to do, I'm going to support it. And I'm not going to just limit her to one thing. People are going to expect her to play football. But I'm not going to say, oh, you must play football. Whatever she chooses at whatever stage in her life, I'm going to support it.
See, with me, I've just always been like, I can advise.
Yes.
I can, like my little brother, like mom played, brother played volleyball. He's obviously naturally going to want to start playing volleyball. Father played basketball. All I say to him is, whatever you do, you have to do it without the arrogance of, hey, I know.
No, right.
Not because you see me walking around the court like I know, but it's because I've learned. So you have to learn, and then all that will come into play.
Yeah.
Coaching now. What was the first team you coached?
SAP is the first team that I coached, and I coached up to championship.
Yeah.
My first year.
What year was that?
That was in 2006.
2006.
That one about the championship.
Why?
Championship, the bad.
Why bother you? Why bother you?
Boy, I'm the green boy.
Yeah. At that time, I went off to Trinidad that same year to do my coaching license. So I have the UEFA B license, which allowed me to coach in England and so on. And come back home, start the coaching SAP, then leave SAP because of some infighting, and I went to Old Road, captured the back-to-back at Old Road, and stayed Old Road for 4 years. You see, when you play the sport and you love the sport, you always want to be close to it.
Too close to it.
Right? So I'm not playing, but coaching is just like if I'm still playing. Because I'm on the field with the guys, we share, some good moments, we share bad moments as well. But coaching is in my blood, and presently I'm at grammar school, coaching U14, U16, and U20, and that just keep me going. You know, I think that to have the knowledge and to keep it, it's selfish. You know, you have to have the knowledge and you got to pass it on to the youngsters so that they can pass it on to the next generation who are coming up. And so far, you know, I'm enjoying it because it's something that I love. You know, it's something that I love. And to see my daughter into coaching now, as I said earlier, I was proud. And to see that she won a championship in the Premier League, I won 3. I don't know if you have a daughter-father combination who has ever done it, but I think that's history.
For sure,
And,
definitely.
When she called upon me, when she told me that she was, you know, thinking about, you know, Grenades looking at coach to finish off the season because they're having some issues and some problems, I said, hey, you know what, you can take it up. You know, I think that you have the knowledge, the capability. You're a teacher, so coaching is just like teaching. You know, it's how you put your points across, how you plan your programs and so on, and get it on. So, you know, she called on me, you know, for some advice, and you know, I have to give her some advice. Even though she has it down pat, I still, you know, chip in with certainly the ideas to, you know, even improve upon what she has. You know, so coming out on the pass and watch her, you know, put her programs out on the field, you know, I said, oh, hey, there's not much I can do, it's just look. You know, because she have everything under control. And if I one thing I said that she come on what she's doing, and the players at the time, they was very respectable. You know, they understand what she's doing, and you know players, and then you know players know when coaches is bullshit.
Right? You know when coaches are good.
Right. So at the time they understand. Hey, this lady knows what she's doing. So they just fall right into line.
They did.
And, you know, it was just history for her.
Obviously, you remember when you won calling at your
Yes.
And we talked about it. And I asked you a question then that, I mean, I have to ask you again just for the sake of the series. Like, your father, when he started coaching, you know, people knew. Pretty boy from SAP, knowledgeable, played for the national team. It was hands down one of the best out of the village. So they really, you know, it naturally wouldn't be any kind of fight back, any kind of pushback against him. Now you're going to coach a team that has championship aspirations. This is the key. Yeah. They want to win the championship. They've been fighting to try. They've been going. They're a strong team in the country. And then here comes Devita. I mean, some persons know her, but with a team that has a strong core of foreign players, they don't know. They probably don't know who she is. How was it like getting them? I'm not even worried about the respect, because I mean, I think players generally respect coaches unless they're just the in sense as players. But how was it to get them to buy into whatever system you wanted to play, you wanted the team to play?
Let me say, I was a fan in the stands before I went to coach them. And I think my positive cheers, I used to, when I see them outside of the field, I used to talk to them. I used to say, hey, maybe you could, you know. So I guess that laid the foundation for when I went to coach, because even though I wasn't so much known to them as the former coach's father or she played football before, they saw me in a positive light, because I was always, it could be 50 people, maybe 100 people understand. I'm the one person from Grenades up there cheering them on no matter what. So when I went to coach, there were some players who knew me from before, because I used to do or run the Grenades Facebook page. I used to do all their content. So I used to be at practices. So I was a familiar face to some and not to others. So the people who knew me could vouch for me, and they in turn got the others or the new people to join. My first day, what I did, I just observed, because I was told that they don't have a coach. They're basically doing their own thing when they come to practice. So as a former teacher, we do what we call an assessment. Before you start teaching, you want to know your players, their names, how they act, attitude-wise. So I just came that first day just to assess what was happening. And that's where my planning began. So when I was introduced at the end of that training session, I basically laid it out. This is what it's going to be. We have just about 3 weeks, 3 more games, all important games. We cannot afford to lose a point because, of course, All Saints United right behind. So
you don't realize, hold on, the 2 first championships the 2 first championships that the Edwards won. They really dig me now. South and Bassa, All Saints and Grenades.
dig you.
Boy.
It was close, man.
It was really close. So we couldn't afford to drop even a point. So I came out, I came out with my plan all the time. I was here early. When they came on, they're like, coach, don't set up the field. Then realized a business. No joke, business. By the end of that first week, everybody was on board. I even had players who, when they came, they said, oh gosh, coach, Konya, what you do here? I don't know. I know my dad because I used to watch him, and I used to enjoy seeing his setups, how he went through the training, and I wanted to mimic that. So that was how I approach every practice session. I want them to enjoy this, so they want to come the next day. And I've heard, he doesn't know this, I've had players tell me, hey, if your daddy not there, me not gonna, if your daddy, me not gonna wake as pretty boy not there. It's something about, I guess, his aura and the energy of his practice sessions that make players want to show up every day, want to do well when they go and play. So I think through him, he brushed off a little bit from me, and the energy that the players gave me was awesome, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
So, as you mentioned, you're coaching in the grammar school team. I recently met a coach that he gave me a different outlook on development, right? So, there are a lot of us that we work in the grassroots. But the coach said to me, he coached volleyball in Trinidad, and the volleyball in Trinidad improved because he took the senior team as his grassroots team. Because he said we're not at the level that we are world beaters in the Caribbean. So because we're not world beaters, as the senior team, he tried to mold things into the senior team, and then he used all his senior players to come down, help with coaching here and there.
Mm-hmm.
You've been with your fair share senior teams. You even coached our senior national team. Mm-hmm. Now you're down at the school level. What is really the plan? Like what are you looking for out of this level?
Well, most likely the reverse is that at the grassroots level, it takes more time, it takes more patience. Because most of the players at grassroots start to play the sport from late. Some start late, so you have to start to deal with a lot of analytic, aerobics and so on, because most of them, they don't athletic. Mm-hmm. They move off the wrong foot. Yeah. They can't jump. They can't, move from left to right. Timing and so on. So you have to go right back down into that, coming back. We even start even work with ball and so on. You have to start to work with them from the feet down, up, right back up. So it's much more technical than deal with the older guys, And I like that because it brings out the best in you, because you have to really zoom into coaching, all right? At the senior level, it's natural. They already know certain things. At that level now, you got to start to teach how to pass, how to turn, how to kick, what position you need to have your body in to make a next move. So all those are the fine points that you have to do at the grassroots level. But as you said, the coach says his grassroots is from up there. So when the older players get it, they can come back down and pass it on to the youngsters. And that's a good point.
For me, I mean, obviously, I'm not national. I coach a club team in volleyball. I mean, I coach the team because at the time they would have been, probably second best team in the country. But for year after year, I used to see the same thing with the team. Then, before I went off to school, just especially when I came back from school, I saw so many things that I said, hey, listen, some of these players think that they're done, and the reality is, if this person can get into this shape, or if this person just practices 3 times a week, they will realize that there's so much more that can happen for them. I wish I could coach on the grassroots level in volleyball in Antigua, but one of the problems is because we only have one active venue. I mean, we work on courts outside. For me to do grassroots once a week, it's really hard. It's really hard. So in the future, I hope that it can happen. But for now, I'm just focused on the clubs. Fast forward, I mean, you were, as you mentioned, you coached SAPTO Championship, coached all back-to-backs. I still remember the bubbler goal. Still, it's probably one of the fullest I've seen ARG both. Because remember, there was this stigma around hoppers that when it's all said and done, they can't win the championship. And that 1 year, they looked really, really good. Like,
it was one point.
Yes, it was like, and I remember the bubbler goal, I remember the celebration, I remember everything. Then, fast forward, you moved on to grenades. So now you really coach 3 different teams at 3 different times in Antigua football. Because, I mean, from the 2000 to about 2010 was different. Then the 3-4 years inclusive of the year that Param brought the 13 players, like although that whole those 3-4 years were different compared to your grenades time. How was it, transitioning and still staying ahead of the game? Whether winning championships or not, your team stayed relevant in the league.
It all goes down to how you build your program, how you build your team. Alright, and as somebody that always been around the game, playing, coaching, has the understanding how to get things done. It wasn't hard. Once you have the right pieces in the right, to fit the puzzle, coaching come easy. I spent like 4 years at Grenades, always in the top 3. And I think the reason why I didn't win a championship at Grenades, it's some little fine points where players didn't really buy into discipline before game and how you carry yourself before game, what you need to do. And we lost some crucial games at crucial times because players take it on their own and want to go and have fun the night before game and so on. And you could see it in them because come the next day they can't move like how they used to move in practice, even in games before. So they went out, they're tired. And that's the reason why, Grenades didn't win a championship in the first 2 years, because we come right there close to win, but just that one night cost you the whole season, But I still have a good run with Grenades, I have some good players that comes in, and when players comes in and play for you, they still have the respect for you. I have all those guys, they still have me on speed dial and so on.
Yep.
I always want to come back and, coach, even not coaching, we're not coming back to Antigua. You have to be there and, things like that, because they enjoy what they're doing. And not only that, they get the knowledge as well. Because once I step on the field, it's business. you know, and they know when it's time when we have fun and it's time when we are serious, you know. But at the end of the day, I would really change another sport for football, even though I played a little bit of cricket. You know, I was good at cricket as well, but I basically choose football. But I was right there, I could choose either cricket or football, and I choose football.
And speaking about cricket, you know, have to go back to shot that palm. The one that almost did what he was supposed to. But you know, my only cricket memory of you is probably in the 2020.
2020.
And that it was probably that the game, like it was like cricket probably started, you know, from being in the community and doing all that. But like why
Now, I started to play cricket in the school league as well. Right? So it starts from right there, from coming into the school league as well too. And at that time, to advance to cricket and really good at it, you have to go to factory. Factory was the ground that made all those test players that you see played for West Indies from Antigua. Starts at factory with Taddy Arundel. And I was at factory. I was pretty good at what I was doing, but it's just I get caught between football and cricket, what I want to choose. So sometimes I will be playing cricket, sometimes I will be playing football. And then at one point they say, you know, you got to choose one. Because you can't keep chopping between both of them, right? Because if you're going to excel in one better, you have to spend more time with one, right? But I have a good run at cricket. I used to play for All Saints as well, you know, with Polo and Maggie and so on, and Bangor and so, you know. But my first stint for Antigua was in 2006, somewhere around there, yeah, 2006, when they have the Red Stripe Bowl. I play Red Stripe Bowl, you know, for Antigua, you know, and that was a good while back. A lot of test players, played against test players, right in the ARG, you know, and from there, Stanford 2020 as well, you know, I have a good run there. I have a good run playing for Antigua as well with all those guys, you know, Ridley Jacobson, Cornwall, Bouncing, you know, Kerry Jeremy, you know, all those top players, you know. So basically, my little career, my little start in cricket ended up to be something that I enjoy as well, you know, because I represent both my country in both sports, football and cricket, and that's a great achievement for me.
Yeah, that was one of the things for me as well, you know, being able to represent Antigua as a footballer, and then on the flip being able to represent as a volleyballer. It was just being able to represent at all. Like even when I'm as a DJ, when I'm called to go to a next country, it's like make sure I have flags, make sure I have these things that represent the country. Devita, you're about to leave. You're going to leave here and go play football, right?
I'm going to coach.
Well, but I remember seeing you play probably a month and a half ago when you played right here.
Yes.
In an exhibition game.
Yes.
And I remember seeing you play years. The last time I saw you play, you played at Radio Range. And I mean, I was like, oh, she still had like a bit, man. Like the fact that she's not practicing and she just trying to go to play, she really still had a little bit. This generation, the generation that you had in football, besides Anik, I would say, who was, because there's no the current, like there's who was remaining, it would be Anik and
that's playing now.
Yeah, with the national, that's probably Anik.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Kai.
Kai.
But for me, when I was
Leaving Kai was...
Yes.
So there's Kai and Annie.
Because under 17, when I was captain for under 17, Kai was like 10.
Yeah, so...
And she made the team. She was that good at 10.
Yeah,
so she made the team and I had to have her under my wing. You know, she was in my room and stuff because she was 10 at the time. So it's great for me to watch now and see Kai still playing and Kai doing great things. But yeah, it's just basically Anik and Kai.
Yeah.
And then others are coaching, you know, like Karen and Tiki, Nikisha. Coaching. I played with Jess as well. Jess, I think, is a physio and stuff. So we're still around football even though we're not playing football. That game that I played the day you saw me, I had to fill in because some of my players weren't here. And surprisingly enough, after that game, my players they were like, oh, coach, you play the next game? I'm like, oh, gosh. There's one player every practice. After that game I played out here, every practice, she said, okay, coach, you can play weekend. Coach, you can play weekend. That's my Mia Lake. She's one of my wingers, midfielder. I think she goes to Christ the King now. Mia is just on me. Coach, you need to go play. She love to play with me. You tell habit, man, coach. I'm like...
But what's she number where you have both for tell habit?
What she know? I guess because I've never played with them. I've always coached. So that day when I went to play, I guess maybe some of the things I was telling them, she saw it in my playing. So she was really... you know, amazed to see that, and she just wants me to play every practice. Coach, you can play. I'm not as fit as I used to be, clearly, but I feel I can. For me, you had a 10-minute bun. After that,
you get flow. Yeah.
After that, you're good.
Because even in that game, right? Remember, you're coach, and then put on the jersey, and Karanda, who is somebody that I'm really cool with. I mean, a lot of people have a lot to say about him as a player, but I mean, if it wasn't for Commander, I would have never made the national team because I would have learned from him. But you're out there, he's now coaching, and I can't recall any time you went against anything he said. And that's a level of maturity to know that I'm the coach, really, but now out here, someone else is a coach as well.
Right. Just
to listen to them and just to go into it. Now, there's 2008. Going on to Jamaica as one of the coaches, and and we had an unfortunate incident where you were arrested along with Danny Benjamin. You guys were arrested, and the news came back to Antigua that he was arrested for having drugs in his suitcase. Me knowing or hearing everything about you, it was it was so shocking as how far. I was like, what? Ain't no way. What was it like? Obviously from both angles, but let's start with you. What was the feeling when you know when that happened? Like, what was it like?
Well, it wasn't a good feeling, and it wouldn't be a good feeling for anybody. Right? I was taken aback because I know that I'm not using drugs. I don't sell drugs. But the biggest thing for me is that why should somebody do something like that, right? Now, the drugs wasn't in my baggage, in my luggage. It was in the uniform, where my name was put on that bag just to get it to go through, because of to cut costs. So when I get called to go to the baggage claim, and then they announce to me that drugs is in the bag, it's like the whole world just came, you know what I mean? Because I know I don't pack that bag, I don't know nothing about that bag. But because my name is on that bag, I get caught up into it, And it was a nice time because I spent 3 months in Jamaica, in and out of court, house arrest, and all those things. And to see that you have to go through something that you don't do, something you don't even mess around, it was hard, real hard. Not only hard on me, but on my family. because they know the capability of me, they know what I stand for. And it takes a lot out of them as well. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, God is good. God is good. And I have to say, we have to give thanks to technology.
Yeah.
Because if it was for technology, it would be a different
It's a whole different thing.
You know, because technology could you know, at least show what really went down.
Clearly, like, it may not can get to the exact bottom of what happened, but it was enough
to show what went on, who put the stuff in that particular bag, because it was right there and on the camera. And I wasn't around at the time.
Definitely, yeah. Devita, now, I mean, you know, you were here, right?
Yes, I was.
So, you know, you probably took him to the airport to go to the game, to go to Jamaica, probably. Now, you know he's supposed to come home on Tuesday.
Right.
Tuesday night, you don't see him.
No.
And I'm not sure when you would have gotten the information. But, like, what just ran through your head immediately when you got the information? Mind you know, this is a country that the first thing I was told when I went down to play, my aunt said, not even a message more I bring back. Like, not even a message. So what just raced through your head immediately?
Well, when I got the call from my stepmother to say the team came back, but daddy didn't come back. Like, what do you mean the team come back, but daddy didn't come back? She said they found something in the bag. I said, but daddy and the daddy bag. Because, you know, from my daddy and the daddy bag. So, of course, not thinking rationally at the time. Because I know how it works with the teams and checking bags. But at that time, that is the furthest thing from my mind. Who, like, that doesn't make sense. That and from my daddy bag, how that, like, my mind was all over the place. And then they say daddy locked up in the jail. I said jail? For me, daddy he has never been to jail in Antigua. So, of course, I'm worried because this man has never done anything to be in jail in his own country. Why would he go to another country to be locked up? I'm like, somebody, I need the whole story. I know this is not my father's doing, so some explanation needs to happen. That was my chain of thought. And then they explain, oh, his name it's because he's a coach, and you know they check his name on the bag and they found whatever in the bag. They said somebody from the team really out of order, because it couldn't be anybody else. It has to be somebody on the team that did that. And why would they do that? Why would they jeopardize literally everybody? And then I felt like, is it really fair that they were allowed to get on the plane and come back to Antigua, and daddy and Danny had to stay? So somebody that came back to Antigua did it. Then no, like you the Hannah Kanjans. That's how I felt. And with each passing week hearing, then they can't come out, they can't leave the country, they can't, and they, like, first off, no evidence was there to say it wasn't them. So they had to be there 1 month, 2 months. Of course, we can't get to talk to daddy as much as we wanted to. It was a really depressing time. And even more than myself, I was worried for my stepmother and my little brother. He's now 14. Mohammed Tavez with me at the time. About, right. Accustomed to seeing daddy every single day. Daddy deal with you every day. And now your daddy not in the house. And you're not getting any explanations. You don't know when he's coming home. So it was really rough for us. All of us. It was really a rough time. And I felt like, I'm going to be honest, I felt like the ABFA did almost nothing to assist. It was, and for me, I recall I decided to go and practice for Antigua again in that same 2018. and I realized they were advertising a game. I think it was a friendly or something. And I'm like, so for me, daddy, they jail. And I can't tell me nothing but y'all are planning to have a game. Everybody's still practicing. No players are standing up and saying, hey, daddy and coach and Danny, they Jamaica and play. Everybody till go about them business. And that just said to me, hey, don't practice. You can't play for this association. And then the came out for your daddy. And if anybody knows me, I ride hard for my father. If you do my daddy something, you do me something. That's how I feel. So I was really disappointed in how the situation was dealt with by the ABFA. That's how I feel. I thank God for daddy's faith, because maybe if he didn't have that faith that he had, I don't know what happened to him. I also thank my stepmother's boss, Aunt Henry. She really worked behind the scenes to get Daddy and Danny, the legal backing, so that they could have somebody there down there at court to fight for them. So I want to say thanks a million. Even now, thanks a million to Aunt Henry for helping, because I don't know if it had gone any other way, maybe I wouldn't be here with you now sitting down. So,
and it's really crazy because we see it a lot where associations, we understand that in a workplace, if tomorrow somebody passes, the next day and a job application is out, but this is it was clear that it wasn't his doing. It's clear. You can only judge people from their tendencies.
Right.
His tendencies don't suggest smoking, don't suggest anything in that aspect. And I remember a lot of the articles coming out saying the association is moving slow. And I remember, at the time, Good Morning Jojo's Hot Show, you hear people on the show saying, the association moving slow, association not doing anything. And it was weird, because now you look at recently Brittany Griner was arrested.
Right.
Yes, the association probably they can't come and take you out of prison.
Right.
I mean, even if I don't even think you would have been upset if they couldn't offer any lawyers or anything, but just updates, trying to find out, that would have made a big difference. Just
Definitely.
hearing, just listening, like, hey, what is happening for my guys down there?
Right.
And they
the biggest thing about this whole thing is that we have the president of the Football Association, a lawyer, and not one phone call in Jamaica to neither myself nor Danny. He has my number, he has all my contacts. Not even one phone call, not even come down to see us one day out of the 3 months. My pastor, Pastor Daniel, come to Jamaica to find out what was going on with myself and Danny. That's my pastor, Pastor Daniel. And the president for the Football Association couldn't even give me a phone call. Not only that, they do an investigation. They come up with the findings. And not up to now, they release the findings. I know what it is. Right? And that's the reason why I tell myself that I'm not going to coach no team in Antigua until that present executive get out of office. Because I cannot see that the support that you're supposed to get from your executive when you're in a position like that, and they don't put out enough to see that you have been freed. And it takes a lot of people that don't run football to put out the interest to make sure that everything is going on right, so that you could get out of that situation. As my daughter say, Mrs. Henry, Ann Henry, the lawyer, she do a lot for me and myself and Danny, because she could get the lawyer that she goes to law school with to represent us down there, to look out for our interests out and down in Jamaica. You know, my wife made a couple of calls to some pertinent people around the government, the situation as an organization, and it was nothing. You know, so not even those people try to help me, not help Danny. You know, it takes a woman in her field to really put everything together. Yes, the Football Association at the end of the day, they are actually paid the lawyer for the job that he's done. But beside that, they do absolutely nothing. You know? And they only have to pay that bill because of the negotiation from Miss Henry. Make that happen. You know? So if it wasn't for Miss Henry, we wouldn't even have a lawyer down there. We were down there on our own. And we were looking at something like 10 to 15 years in prison. So that's the reason why I'm not coaching right now. Because I made myself a promise not to coach ever again in Antigua under that president. Until that president goes, I will coach in kids.
And you said that yesterday on my sports show, but I had Barbara on the show, and you know we were talking, and I remember you were in the running for, I think, vice president, and you pulled out. But just before you pulled out, this guy, he goes on the media and he's like, the only reason you're running is because you don't like the president. It's not because you want football better or anything like that. You don't like the president. You pulled out, and when you pulled out, you were like, listen, I don't hate anyone, and I just don't want this surrounding it. But like, can you like break down like why you really pulled out? Like,
the reason I really pulled out is because I just can't see myself function around something that is leading us nowhere. We're absolutely going nowhere. And for me to be a part of that organization, I couldn't see myself there. Because if I get selected as an ordinary member, a vice president, I'm gonna have to be around working with the same individual. So it doesn't make any sense. Because I'm there to run against him. So why should I join him if I'm running against him? So that only goes to show that I didn't want to be associate myself around that organization.
and it's funny because I mean I think it's only common sense. If I am running against you, I am only running against you because I don't like the way how things are being run by
Exactly.
you. So if the person that I would have been running under them, I want them to win. If they don't win, like I have to pull out. Like it only makes sense to pull out, But like again, of all the associations in Antigua, I am the most disappointed with the Football Association. Why? I love football. I know the people. I mean, I used to play for Villa as a young player, like a youth player, so I know the people. I know a lot of persons that are in the places. I have nothing against them as persons, because some of them I know of them, some of them I just don't. I can't call them like I can call your phone.
Right.
But I just think for a sport that, when a kid goes into first farm, the first thing he wants to do is play football. I don't think we've done enough. And Antigua is a country that is a storm in the Caribbean. Like once we lock in on any sport, we can beat anybody in the Caribbean.
I don't see that we're making any progress at the youth level as well, because I realize that we are disenfranchised a lot of young players from different communities because the association don't have a youth program, neither female nor male, and it's about the academies. And I think that nothing wrong with the academies, but the Football Association have to run their youth programs, because I gotta tell you why. You see the academies, you have the same coaches that coaching in the academies around the national program. And most of the players around the national team right now come from the academies, right? Guess what? We have a lot of young, great players, good players at youth age in All Saints, in Liberta, in Old Road, in Bowlands, even in town and so on. But they come from a poor background. Their mother don't have any money to send them to academy. So what? They get left out because you only seen the academy players. So now, there where the association comes in now to run their program, so you could spot those talent in the different communities, because they has coaches going out, Bowlands, All Saints, like every Saturday, running programs. So you will get to spot the kid that can't go to the academies. And there where you start to spot the talent and bring it in together with the association and run under 15, if not under 15, under 17, under 14. Run 2 division, 2 leagues then. So at least you have youngsters moving from that level to youth level to senior team. Even and the female as well. And you're not seeing that. And the problem that they have is that they're getting money to run the programs. Where's the money going? To run those youth programs. Because FIFA gives you something like, I think 50,000 US, male, female, to run the youth programs.
And I was a product of these youth programs. I mean, yes, I grew up in a village where once you start playing football, with or without the youth program, we were going to always be playing. Yeah. But, you know, I remember we had a team over us. We were playing, and then I wanted to make the national teams. And I remember when I was younger, I used to come to Bowlands all the time because, you know, my father and Shuggy were really good friends. And I remember a year they were playing for the Nazarene team, and I heard them say, Shuggy only can make the national team if he leaves Ambassadors and goes and plays with Ravens. And, you know, I felt that way in the youth team too, because, I mean, our senior guys, you know, the Ranges, the Etties, the Cheyennes, they were in the team, the national team. But then, me, Prince, maybe Romario was the only one that would have been in the national team. But then, we're not in the teams. Prince leaves All Saints and goes to the next team, automatically in the team. I leave All Saints and go to play Villa, automatically in the team. Like, I mean, yes, we were, but, you know, we weren't getting the look in the end. Then we started seeing younger players come through from there. But the youth program was so important for us. I can remember going to Dredgery every Saturday from 9 a.m. Even if we were playing at 2, down there from 9, watching all the games, coming straight through, playing everything. And it was more effective than school league. Why I think it's more effective than school league? I mean, sometimes when school league being played after school, you know, get the best from the players. Like, it's a lot.
School is just enjoyment.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's enjoyment. Because you don't get the ample time where you need
to work
to coach with the team. Because presently now, I maybe can only work with the team once a week, and then all the other days is a game. Mm-hmm. So you basically have to try to talk to them more now than even coaching, and try to correct them after games and so on. But you can't get time to put in the work in the school league. So school is just for fun.
So, you know, I mean, as we're looking to wrap up, we have our national teams right now playing in both. You know, the women are on the road to the Gold Cup. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously the last 2 results weren't favorable in our side, but I personally like I like the direction of the women's team. But the problem with the direction of the women's team is the leagues. Right. The league. So, like, yes, you have a few girls that are overseas, so, you know, when they come back, let's hope they can add to these teams. But the coaches, their hands are really tied behind their backs. Because, you know, you can call players in practice all the time now. But we all know, 3 of us here, very competitive people, it is different when the referee has a whistle than when the coach has a whistle. Very different. Mm-hmm. But then, the men's program, I just feel like I don't know the direction that we're going. I mean, we have arguably who is, would have been probably the best player in the country right now, which would be Quinton. He is about to go over. Quinton is older. He's old. Like, I mean, he plays like he's young because he naturally just has the battery in him to go. Right. But he's getting older. You can see injuries. We still, I have nothing against Josh, but we're still using Josh as a person to lead our lines. And we have all these young players who we've seen in the Premier League, we've seen in the First Division. Case in point, kid from South. Can't remember his government name. Chinese man.
Tyreek Tom.
Yeah. Boy score goals, and it's like, okay, why not try him out? Let's see what's happening. I'm happy to see Raheem getting playing time, and then you have the players that left like couldn't play with Antigua, but they went off because they can't get the nod. Yes. Sometimes, yes, granted that. At the time, you maybe can't get the nod ahead of the next player. So, we really accept it. But right now, I don't see the direction. I don't know anything like what's happening. Well, like, we watched a game the other day, and I barely could have seen the number on the back of the jersey. Like, things like that.
Well, my perspective is that when I was there, I sit down with them, we have meetings, and I put to them that, we usually like bringing 10 and 11 players here. I tell them that's useless for us right now. Yes, we have to look on the positions that we need to fill presently, right? Normally, I think that we're very weak at centre back. So I said, okay, we look at the centre back position. We look at the midfield position, because we need a midfielder that could attack and distribute at the same time, with a vision. We don't have that. Up front, we need another goal getter at the front, right? But other areas was all right. So I tell them, you don't need no more 5 players. So we need to give our younger players the opportunity at a young level. So if they get 2-3 years under the belt at the age of 18, they're ready at 23. And I was shut down because of that, because they think that it's just winning now. Yes, we talking about winning, but winning comes with development. Right. You have to develop players before you can win. You understand? And the players that we bring in here is not much better than what we have, right? So now I told them as well that the most important thing is to get an overseas coach that with a lot of experience, that know the ins and outs, know players outside of Antigua also, because let's face it, I have my UEFA B license, right? But I see football moving away further and further, because if you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do as a coach, with the game getting more technical and so on, so you have to bring in somebody that experience. So I recommend to them that bringing in an experienced coach so I could work along with, because I'm not going to be selfish, and I know I might can take Antigua to the camera and no more. But a coach comes in, can go beyond the camera, right? And I can get that knowledge that he takes from that camera beyond the camera in my head. And then I can take a team now and take it further from that camera now. So I tell them, look, we need a coach, and we need a coach to come in with more experience than myself, so I can work around with, so I can learn from. So when he gone, I can pass the knowledge on to other coaches. Shut that down as well.
What's funny about it? I've never, with the exception of my volleyball coach, I've never heard a coach in Antigua accept that. And I've been a strong advocate of that. I'm like, yo, listen, if this man never know how the other side of the wall looks, how is he going to show me how to get to the other side? You can watch a million YouTube now. But again, it will not work.
The practical and the theoretical work is two different things.
Completely
Different things. You could do the best in the classroom. Going out there, and now the way FIFA set up the coaching with the coaching lines, they don't worry too much of the classroom right now. Because the classroom is one thing. Out there the work is on the field. So you find the theory is more shorter. You have to go into the practical work out there on the field. So now you go to a coaching session, it's less classroom, more field work. You know, so I know my ability. I know my ability and I know what I can do, but I also know that I cannot move the national team from here to there unless you don't have somebody to help you. And I work with a lot of coaches that comes into Antigua, right? And I take a little from everybody. And then I pass it on to my team. So I'm not going to be a selfish guy and say, look, hey, we don't need no outside coach. We don't need no technical director because we have people here can do it. But the people here don't have the knowledge and the experience to do it and to pass it on. So why we must so selfish? You know how that's going to happen? You're going to keep the younger players of them to the level as you.
And that's what it is. I mean, again, my volleyball dramatically improved when I got to college. My coach here took me to being, I'd say, top 5 in the ECBA. You know, I was always knocking on the door, trying. I just couldn't get Antigua past the hump in these championships. Go after school, coach, just a lot of different things. Come back, win the championship.
No,
like
I played on all the coaches in Antigua in my time, and my game was just at one level. And when Zoran Fanis come to Antigua from Yugoslavia and take over, my game get further because I started to do things that I never do before. I started to learn things that I never understand because you bring in a coach where you coach at the professional level. So the coaching, you want to go tomorrow because you're hungry for the training now because you're getting something new, right, that you never do before. So tomorrow you want to go to practice, right? And my game improved drastically, my physical condition and so on. At one point, playing for Zoran Vanis, I don't know what, I can't tire. Myself and Bubble and Ranji and Zico are so on them guys, because these guys come in late. You remember the Future Stars?
Yeah.
He found Future Stars and he used Future Stars and take down Empire with ease. And Empire was a top team, nobody could beat Empire. And Zoran Vanis get a U team from school, Future Stars, and destroy Empire in the recreation ground. Some kids, because they buy into what he was doing. They understand what he need, what he want them to do. So when Zoran come, in not only my game, I see players' game improve dramatically, you know. And that day 98, man, I tear up. 98 was one of my best years. And I made the Caribbean All-Star team that same year. To Korea and so on. And the Zoran Vanis. So improve my game. Not taking nothing away from the coaches, but sometimes you say, you know, what those guys were teaching us wasn't close.
to what? Because
Close to what you need to do.
Yeah, he knows the other coaches know.
So being an outside coach that know what he's doing
That's
is the
part.
key.
I mean,
We can't be selfish.
and what I've been saying, right? Like even with netball recently, you know, they've struggled to really find a coach. I've been saying some of these sports we don't have to look too far because, you know, Jamaica is a top nation in netball. One of the things about having when I was in school, I think I would have developed anyway if I had a coach. But the reason I think I developed so much was because my coach, she coached in Barbados in 2010 to 2012. So she knows what a Caribbean kid is. She knows that, hey, practice is at 7 o'clock. And I understand. Like, he can run, come and practice. And he's going to be at practice 6 o'clock today, but tomorrow he might very much be at practice 7:05.
You know, the first thing that I learned, let me say we, because all of us, learn from Zora and Vanish. It's simple. And I pass that on to the younger players. You know, one day we were sitting, and he says, guys, your body and your mind combine. If your body tells you you're going to do something, you have to come from the mind first. Your mind have to be there. So you say, if you teach your body, you teach your mind to keep your body late, you're going to late to pick up a pass on the field. You're going to need to close down your player. So simply it's telling you that you have to be always on time. You cannot be late. And if you're always late, your body gonna be late. So your body and your mind is one. Right? And when you reminisce that, right? If you used to come to practice late every day late to practice, every day late, when you go on the field, that mind and that body gonna combine. You're gonna late to cover your guy. You're gonna late to make a pass. You're gonna late to shut down the player because that's how you train your body to be always late. And I learned that, and I never forget that.
So, as I mentioned, we're wrapping up, and that's really like, you know where I want to see you. Like, I mean, NCAA, because I think you have the talent. Are you looking into that? Are you just still right now playing it by them just working what we're doing right now and then, I think you have the talent to be a college coach. That's one. Two, you played in college.
I did.
So coaches know you. So, what we all know the reality is no matter how talented you are, if you don't have the link coming from the islands, if you don't have the link, you probably will never get the chance. But you have the link, so like, what's happening? What's happening?
I want to say I'm just taking it one step at a time. You mentioned the league or female league earlier, and one of the things I've noticed now I'm coaching, because I'm coaching with that United FC, is that because of how the league is going, my players are demotivated. I'm having less and less people coming to practice. I am now demotivated. I'm trying to stay. I'm there like, oh, y'all need to come to practice. We don't know when they're going to have a game or they're going to call on us, so we have to stay fit. I feel like I want to start at home in terms of making female football better here before I venture out. As Daddy said earlier, I'm kind of waiting on the executive to change, because I know that the plans that Barbara has, or anybody that is aligned with her has, they're in line with what I'm thinking or what I see for football in Antigua. So I'm just hoping that the clubs, because it takes the clubs to make a change, I'm hoping that the clubs can finally stand up so we can have the change that we need, so that we can see football changing on the grassroots level, development, female, men. I'm really trying to see it build here before I try to jump outside of the country, But I'm humbled that you see me as a college coach. I don't know if it's in my future. I would say I have a persevering spirit. I feel like once I start something, I have to finish it. And I've started my coaching journey, so I feel like I have to finish it. I don't know when I'm going to finish it, but I will.
Yeah,
so just bear with me, give me a little time, but I'm going to finish it.
Playing there, I've obviously, in my volleyball off season, I'm going to play around with the football, because I can play football. And some of the coaches, I come and I watch our coaches here, and I think some of our coaches can really be good coaches in these places. Well, you know, we're at the end, and at the end, you know, first of all, let me try.
Oh my, okay.
Okay.
Forgive me.
Say nothing. Say no more.
I did reach out. They said their shipment, they have to have a new shipment because they gave out all the jerseys they had before.
Okay, say no more. Once you remember.
I didn't forget you.
Once you remember. No, we're at the end. We're going to like quick things that come to your mind, like quick questions.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to. Some of them might be tough because they're like it's so much to pick from, but you know. The best 5 players you've ever played with.
And my team?
Yeah, played football with. On your team, yes.
National team.
National, club, school, village league.
Let me hit the national team, man. Quentin Clark, Darrell Greenaway, Ivor Luke, Sean DeTurville, and I would say Fernando Abraham.
And I mean, being from the countryside, you hear Quentin, amazing player. You know, your best friend, the best friend
that I've played with.
Yes, inclusive of school, everything.
School, everything. It would be Agel London, for sure. That's my girl. Agel, Amelia, Brittany, Anik, and Heidi. Yeah, Heidi Thomas. That's Peter Byers' sister. So those are my 5.
And that's a 5 that you hit the names are very, very familiar. I mean,
yes.
Amelia was an amazing centre back. Played some really good midfield, and was a good captain. Like, can't forget the year that she came back and captained the team.
Yeah.
Brittany was a goal machine. Like,
she was.
I think Adrian was so talented. Like,
yeah,
listen.
I used to like Kay and her brother used to play the youth team, and he used to tell him, bro, you're not even the best. You're not even the best London, bro. Like, and I think I saw them have a younger sister that was
sister. That's Agel's daughter.
That's her daughter.
Yes.
Playing with the under 14.
Yes, Alia.
So you see, so you know that family is a strong one. If there's like for me, nobody can get me to play for South. Nobody like if me play for South, you just know that like I've just accepted like defeat on I just accepted defeat like and me don't play for South. What is there any team that you would not play for in Antigua? Not, I mean, and obviously not because you have anything against. Well, me not play for South. Like I love Bowlands, people, but me like South.
You want one team?
One team they wouldn't play
Never
for.
play with Villa.
You would never play with
Villa.
What about you?
For me, it's who have hoppers. Any team hoppers. Lady hoppers, anything, hoppers no. That's one team.
Whenever me see the SAP jersey cross with me, blood. Like can't wait for like boy. And mean the people good because I mean I think Tiran is one of the best midfielders we ever seen. I mean Karan did real good. You can never play for SAP.
You can't play for SAP.
No, me play for Guineas and so. Me play for Old Road. Hey, me play for Bowlands and Alley and so.
But not SAP.
SAP. Never. And I mean, again, thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys. I mean, I've been talking to you about this one for a while. And
yes.
Finally, you told me like when works out for you. And again, I'm grateful for this because a lot of things were said here that it's a story that the stories need to be told. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we wanted, we were thinking, you know, do half of you, then half. And I was like, nah, if we do everything together, it fits more. And as I mentioned, the stories are things that need to go out. Like, people need to hear, like, oh, why was he considered the best? Like, why did he, like, why, like, what is happening?
Right.
Because we have a radio show on, we have a show, People in the Corner, Dr. Jerry Simon. And if it's one thing Jerry does is, when you ask Jerry, hey, top 10 players you've ever seen in football in Antigua, Jerry will never say Quentin. Why? Because everyone knows Quinton.
Quinton.
Jerry can dig under the box and find somebody that know, like, and then you ask somebody about him. When you ask somebody about him, somebody say, "Yo, he was really good," but guess what? Nobody knows the story. I'm tired of hearing, like my uncle Eddie Wire. I'm tired of hearing how good he was as a player.
Man, that's good.
But guess what? Everyone knows the story of Salem as my old uncle because that's the story that's been told. But it's very important to know the story. So again, good luck in your rest of the coaching career.
Thank you.
Again, thank you guys for joining. Thank you. It was really good and I enjoyed it.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.